challenging in improving that agriculture production. Next lesson after the animal behavior, what is the chapter? Challenges in the improving that agriculture. You have the textbook you have with you? Have a? Now listen. So this means actually every organism is required to the food. So these are the food we are getting from the plants and animals. Okay. Every organism required to the food. Because of that, every organism have the required to that energy. These are the energy. With the help of the energy, we can do the so many activities. Without food, there is no energy. There is no energy. There is no survival of the organism. So that's why every organism required to the food. These are the food we are getting from the plants and animal. So in this lesson, especially we can study about that. What are the challenges we are taking in that increasing of the agriculture production? So already you see, so this is the decade 1961 to 1971, population growth, okay, food grain production and ratio. So actually in that 1961 to 71, population growth is the 2.4 and food grain is the 2.83. And 1971 to 1981, population growth is the 2.23 and food grain is the 1.8. Next, 1981. So that means if you are seeing in this table, what you are understanding means, okay, what you are understand, every decade that population is increasing. Is it clear? Population is increasing, but food grain production is the decreasing. Yes or no? Food grain production is decreasing. So that's why we can increase that crop yield. We can increase that crop yield. So that's why how to increase that food production? How to increase the food production? You know already very well. Land is the permanent, land is the limited. Within the limited land, we can produce unlimited crop yield. Yes or no? So unlimited crop yield we have the required. So that's why in this method we can implement that. So first one, okay, increasing the area of the cultivated land. First what we are doing? Increasing the cultivated land. Yes or no? Increasing the area of the cultivated land, that is the first step. Second step, increase the production of the existing land. Second point, increasing the cultivation, particular area of the cultivated land. Second point is within the existing land we can increase the crop yield. That is the second method. Third method, actually, okay, we can use it to that developed that high yielding varieties. Third one is the developing the high yielding varieties. Fourth one is the crop rotation. Fifth one is the cultivating of the mixed crops. And sixth one is the, actually some of the crops are the very short term crops and long term crops is there. We can grow that short term crops. Okay. So these are the method we can increasing that crop production. We can increase. The first one what? So increasing the area of the cultivated land. Second one is the, so increasing the production of the existing land. Third one is the developing the high yielding varieties. Fourth one is the Yes. So crop rotation method. Fifth one is the cultivated mixed crops. Sixth one is the cultivated short-term crops. So these are the method we can increase the crop yield. So in this method, actually these are the three varieties of the plants we can grow. Especially how to we can increasing the crop yield. Here three types of the varieties are present. First one is the developing high yield varieties. First one is the developing high yield varieties. Second one is the high yield management technique. Third one is the crop protection management. Crop protection management. So first one is the high yielding varieties. Second one is the management method. Third one is the crop protection management. Crop protection management. Now first one we can discussing improving the high yielding crop varieties. Increasing the high yielding crop varieties. In this method, first thing is the irrigation is the very important. Applying of the water to the crops is called irrigation. If the more amount of the water is present, that more amount of the water they are giving to the more amount of the yield. So if the less amount of the water is available, they are giving to the less amount of that yield. So that's why you are keep in your mind, you are keep in your mind what you are keeping. So if that water is the more is present, so water is the more is present, so then they are giving to the more amount of the yield. If the water is the very less is there, they are giving to the less amount of the yield. Is it clear? Next point here, what does the plant do with the water? Actually here, with the help of the water, plants are absorbed to the nutrients. Plants are absorbed to the nutrient. There is no water. If there is no water, there is no absorption of the nutrient. So for example, you know very well, in the rainy season that plants are they are giving to the more amount of the crop yield. In the summer season, you can see the very less amount of the crop yield. So because of the difference, if the water is more present, they are giving to the more amount of the yield. So if the water is not available, they are giving to the less amount of the yield. In that presence of the water, that plants are absorbed to the nutrient very actively. Is it clear? Next point. So you know very well, with the help of the stomata, green plants they are taking to that carbon dioxide and they can absorb to that they can absorb to the, so this is known as the stomata. With the help of the more amount of the stomatas are present, more absorbed to the carbon dioxide. If the less amount of the stomatas are present, they can absorb to the less amount of the carbon dioxide. If the more plants in the plant, these are the stomatas are present in the more, they are giving to the more amount of the crop yield. Is it clear? Next, plants nutrients. For example, every day we are taking to the nutrient like carbohydrate, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals. Plants also require to these are the nutrients. So, plants also absorb the different kinds of the nutrients, minerals and salts from the soil. Which of the nutrients they are taking to the more, that is called macronutrient. Which are the nutrients they are taking to the very less, that is called micronutrient. For example, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. So these are all known as the macronutrient. So micronutrient, iron, manganese, boron, zinc, copper, molybdenum, chlorine, these are also known as the micronutrient. So these are the nutrients also present in the soil. This is the consumed by the plant, are replenished okay, return to the soil in the many different ways. In the nature, that continuation process of the death and decaying of the plants and animal, again these are the nutrients are joining into the soil. Yes. Next, crop rotation. What is the meaning of the crop rotation? Crop rotation, for example, every day if you are eating same type of the nutrient, are you continuously eating every day same type of the nutrients? Every day if you are eating to the chapati, is it good for you? No. So that means every day if you are eating to the chapati, that means carbohydrates only enter into the body. There is no protein, there is no fats. At the same time, if you are continuously to the only one type of the crops only, okay, so that is also not good. If you are every year you can change it to that crops, so that's why that soil to become a replenish and they are getting to the nutrient, that crops they are giving to the more amount of the yield. So that crop rotation means every season we can change the crops. So that is called crop rotation. Crop rotation. Okay. A farmer is the cultivated sugarcane in his land for his last 5 years. Another farmer is the cultivated sugarcane in the first year and soya bean in the second year and sugarcane in the third year. Which of the farmer getting to the more amount of the yield? Second farmer. Okay. So that means after the cultivation of the paddy, pulses and groundnut has been grown. Okay. Next, after the cultivation of the tobacco, mirchi, then they can grow. After the cultivation of the red gram, maize, paddy has to be grown to the cycle to go on. So this is called crop rotation. Crop rotation. When the cereals are the cultivated, more nutrients are utilized. If the legumes are grown in the soil, less nutrients are utilized. Not only this, they synthesize some of the nutrients into the soil. Okay, so that is known as the crop rotation method. Are you understand the crop rotation method? Next, cultivated of the mixed crops. Mixed crops means, have you ever seen two types of the crops in the same field? So, next, which crops are grown in this way? Especially, you know very well. Okay. So, in this, if there are more than one crop is cultivated in the same field, so that is called mixed crop. Because mixed crops of the cultivating the soil become fertile. The nutrients which are used one crop will be regained by the cultivating of the another crop. So, example, pea grown along with the green gram and corn grown along with the black gram and groundnut grow along with the sunflower and groundnut along with the red gram. So, these are the examples of the generally pulses and cereals are grown in the mixed crop. Okay, short-term crops also grown in the long-term crops in the field. This is the fruits are growing in this field. Lemon, pomegranate, papaya, pulses like red gram, black gram and green gram. These are the cultivated as a mixed crop. Are you understand? Next one is the root nodules. So you know very well, in the leguminaceae plants, so actually these are the plants, legume plants in that nitrogen, in the atmosphere, actually 78% of the nitrogen is available in the atmosphere. This leguminaceae plants means fabaceae plants, all the pulses. Pulses means red gram, green gram, okay, black gram. So in these plants, actually in that atmosphere, 78% of that atmosphere, that nitrogen is present. These are the nitrogen is present in the molecular state, N triple bond N. This is the nitrogen is not available to the plant. So that's why plants, if it is present in the nitrate form or ammonia form, then plants are utilized to the nitrogen. So these are the plants, leguminaceae plants. So actually that root nodule, Rhizobium leguminacearum bacteria is present. This plant is sheltered to the Rhizobium leguminacearum. This Rhizobium leguminacearum, this molecular nitrogen converted into the nitrate or ammonia, then plants are utilized to the nitrogen. In this, both of them beneficial to each other. These are the plants are provide to the shelter to the Rhizobium leguminacearum. Rhizobium leguminacearum, that molecular nitrogen converted into the nitrate or ammonia, then plants are beneficial to each other. This is known as the symbiosis. Symbiosis nutrition. Okay, lichens, algae and fungi, together they are living. That is also examples of the symbiosis nutrition. Are you understanding? Next one is the organic manure. Why the manures are required? Manures are giving to the crops, they are increasing the crop yield. Okay, so increasing the crop yield. Do you ever saw the herd of the goats in a vacant field? Why the shepherd make the arrangement to stay? These are the goats and sheep in the field, because the organic manure is the produced by the decaying of the plants and animal waste. The manure produced from the decomposed plants and animal produce a more organic material. This gives good nutrient to the soil. It makes the soil fertile. Because of the humus, the natural manure water holding capacity, soil may be increased. So these are the organic manure is the increasing of the crop productivity. Okay. So do you know very well, natural organic manure are generally divided into two types. One is the concentrated organic manure and other one is the macro organic manure. So groundnut, gingerly, castor, coconut, neem, jatropha seeds powder, these are also examples of the concentrated organic manure. These are also known as used as a fodder for the cattle and poultry. And animal excretia, especially for the compost, deep litter are the example of the macro organic manure. So these are the organic manure is the increase the crop yield. Do you know green manure? Green manures means, okay, do you know that some of the crops are grown so that they can be plowed back into the soil, because some of the examples of the bersim, kulthi, sunhem, lobia, green gram, okay. So sunhem, horse gram, these are the example for the green manure. Each and everything in the textbook they are given clearly. Next, do you know soil testing? Soil testing means Bhusara Pariksha Kendralu. So actually, so in that Bhusara Pariksha Kendralu, actually that soil every year before that growing of the crops, we can conduct the test. Okay. In that test, what are the element is lacking? On that element, if it is lacking, we can identify, then we can giving to that nutrient to that soil. So that's why we are getting to the more amount of the nutrients, more amount of the crop yield. Yes or no? Next, do you know vermicompost? Vermicompost. So these are the vermicompost, especially with the help of that, especially we can use it to that earthworms. What is the especially plant excretia and animal excretia we can collecting with the help of that, okay, dead and decaying matter. Then with the help of that earthworm we can okay, increasing of the crop yield. Generally we are used to the vermicompost. Next very important thing is the Panchagavya. So this Panchagavya also known as the natural manure. The main ingredients of the Panchagavya is, first one is the milk, curd, ghee, cow dung and urine of the cow. What are the five components? First one is the milk, second one is the curd, third ghee, fourth one is the cow dung, fifth one is the urine cow. Okay, so these are the mixed cow dung and cow ghee. Settle is there for 4 days. On the 5th day, add the urine, milk, and curd of cow, and also added to the kallu, coconut water, and sugar cane juices to the mixture, and then add to the bananas paste. Settle for that 10 days, and next stir the material morning and evening. Then you can use it to this Panchagava, and also sprayer types of that manure also available. 3% of the Panchagava help to that grow of the crop yield, higher amount of the yield. Okay. Next, organic farming. Organic farming means nowadays every crop increasing of the crop yield we are using to that okay, especially pesticides, insecticides and we can use it to the chemicals. Organic manures means what are the naturally we are getting, that naturally we can growing of the crops, naturally we are growing to the fruits and then we are growing, that is known as the organic manure. Organic manure generally we are using to the biofertilizers. Okay. Organic manure also some of the microorganisms useful to synthesis of these are the nutrients. So these are also known as the biofertilizers. Especially in the bacteria, nitrogen fixer, rhizobium agitobacter, azospirillum, phosphorus, okay, phosphorus we are getting from the Bacillus pseudomonas, algae nitrogen fixer, blue green algae, fungi phosphorus we are getting from the okay, so mycorrhiza, and especially in the fungi phosphorus we are getting from the penicillin. So these are the biofertilizers also increasing of the crop yield. There is no pollution. This is the beneficial to the okay atmosphere and increasing of the crop yield. Are you understand? Next one, chemical fertilizers. Do you know chemical fertilizers? Chemical fertilizer, urea, gromor, NPK. So these are the chemical fertilizer increase to that soil, decrease that soil fertile and they can increase the crop yield. But if every day if you are continuously using that soil is infertile. Okay. So especially examples of that chemical fertilizers, urea, superphosphate, ammonium phosphate, potassium phosphate. Okay. So if it is using increasing the crop yield, okay. If you are continuously using, that is the decreasing of the soil fertile. Yes or no? Next one is the crop protection method we are using to the weeds. So weeds means unwanted plants they can grow along with that crops, so that is called weeds. Okay. So if you are using to that controlling of the weeds, we are using to the herbicides, insecticides. Okay. So generally what happened, generally if you are using to these are the chemicals, actually they are killing to that insect. Insects are helping to that especially for that pollination. Pollination means pollen grains reach to the anther to the stigma. If the pollination and fertilization is very important in the production of the new plant, so that's why if you are using to the herbicide, insecticide and chemicals, they are killing to the especially for that. So these are the animals. Okay. So this is next one is the natural pest controlling method. Natural pest controlling method generally we are used to the neem plant. Okay. So next generally okay. So these are the methods we can using. So once here that important points once I am reading, once you can see. Are you understand this lesson? Okay, in our country food production is not increasing in the accordance with the increase in the population. Factors of the factors of the increasing of the food production are quality and variety of the seeds planted, properties of the soil, availability and proper application of the irrigation and fertilizers, weather controlling weather controlling insect attacks and controlling the weeds are very important. Mixed crop system helps the farmer to produce the varieties of the crop as well as the increase the soil fertility and crop production. Crop rotation preserve the soil fertility. Seeds with the desired character were developed by using the hybridization method and genetic engineering method. Plants utilized to that only 0.1 percentage of the which it absorbed to the form of the carbohydrate during the process of the photosynthesis. Absorption of the carbon dioxide and evaporation of the water occur through the stomata. Dry land crops orchard pantalu is suitable for the less amount of the water available in the area. Plants need nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium salts in the large quantity. These are called macronutrients. Plants need some nutrients like boron, iron, copper in the small quantity. These are called micronutrients. Nutrients are the replenished to the soil by the rotating crops adding to the organic manure or chemical fertilizer. Mixed crops cultivation makes the soil fertile. The nutrients which are used by one crop will be regained by the cultivating of the another crop. Humus and water holding capacity are the increased in the soil by the applying of the natural manure. Any plant leaves can be used as a green manure. Vermicompost is far better than the chemical fertilizer. Over usage of the pesticide leads to the soil pollution, water pollution and hazard to the biodiversity. Yes or no? Next. So this is actually improvement in the food resources, improvement in the crop yield. You can crop variety improvement, finding the crop variety that can give a good yield, improved the quality of that crop. Biotic and abiotic resistance is present. Biotic components means nothing but plants and animal. Abiotic components means nothing but temperature, pressure, air, water, salt. And change in the maturity duration. Some of them they are taking to the long duration, some of them they are taking to the short term duration. Short term duration you can take. Wider adaptability. So different any area they can adaptability more is there, that is giving to the more amount of the yield. Desirable agronomic character. So if that for example if you are going to that market, you can see the round in color, red in color, pulp is more, such type of that vegetables, fruits are you buy, according to that you can grow that type of the characters only. And crop production management, water management is the very important. If the more amount of the water is present, that more amount of the water they are giving to the more amount of the yield. So especially manure, organic matter prepared by the decomposition of the animal excreta or the plant waste, you can more use it to the manure. Fertilizers, fertilizers are the two types of the fertilizers are present. One is the natural fertilizers and chemical fertilizers. You can more depend upon the natural fertilizers only. Natural fertilizer they are giving to the more amount of the yield. Artificial fertilizers if you are using first time they are used to the increasing of the crop yield, but that is if you are continuously using, that is the decreasing of the soil fertility. Commercially produced plants nutrients such as the nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Nutrient management. Okay. So especially we are using to the wells, canals and river lift system and tanks. Cropping pattern. You can use it to the mixed cropping, intercropping, crop rotation method. Okay, crop protection methods, crop protection management. We can weeds, control the weeds. Weeds are the very danger unwanted plants. They can grow along with the crop plant. If they are continually growing, they are okay, decrease the crop productivity. Example, xanthium, parthenium, cypress, okay, insects pest, and diseases, most of them caused by the diseases through the bacteria, fungi and virus. So this is the animal husbandry. Cattle farming two purposes, especially cattle are farming milk, especially milk breed of the cattle. Second one is the tilling, irrigation and cotting, especially both indicus and cows and both buffaloes. These are poultry farming, egg production, chicken, meat, crossbreeding programs, Indian SL and exotic leghorn, layers and broilers, layers especially for that layers we can produce it to the egg or meat. Boilers are that especially meat purpose. Fish production, chief source of the animal protein. Fish obtained by that capture fishing and culture fishing. Marine fisheries, example mackerel, pomfret, tuna, Bombay duck, sardines. And inland fisheries, generally canals, ponds, reservoirs and rivers. Varieties katla, silver, carp, rohu, grass carp, common carp. Beekeeping, local varieties, Apis serena indicata, Apis dorsata, Apis flora, Italian bees. Okay. Animal husbandry. The scientific management of the animal livestock include the various aspects such as feeding, breeding and disease control is called animal husbandry. Beekeeping, the rearing of that care and management of the honeybees obtained from the honey, wax and other substance. Broiler chicken, the chicken which are fed with the vitamin rich supplementary feed for the good growth rate and better feed efficiency. Capture fishing, the process obtaining fish from the natural resources. Cereal, the crops which are rich in the carbohydrate, wheat, rice, maize, millets and sorghum. Compost, decayed organic material used for the fertilizer for the growing plant. Crop rotation, the growing of the different crops on a piece of land in the pre-planned succession. And culture fishes, the process obtaining fishes by the fish farming. Draught animal, the animals which are used for the farm labor. Fertilizer, commercially produced plant nutrient which supplement nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Hybridization, the technique which is the crossing can be done between the genetically dissimilar plants. Pulses, the crops which are rich in the protein, green gram, red gram, black gram, every gram. Kharif crops, the crops which are grown in the rainy season from that June to October. Intercropping, growing of the two or more crops simultaneously. Irrigation, supply of the water to the agriculture land. Macronutrient, it is utilized to the very less amount of the nutrient. Mixed cropping, growing of the two or more crops simultaneously. Lactation period, the period of the milk production after the birth of calf. Livestock, the animals which are raised to farm purpose, cattle, buffalo, horse. Poultry farming, the farming of the domestical fowl for the egg production and chicken meat. Rabi crops, the crops which are grown in the winter season is called Rabi crops. Example, November to April. Vermicompost, the compost prepared by using the earthworm to hasten the process of the decomposition of the plants and animal. Weeds, the unwanted plants in that cultivated plant. So this is about the challenging in that agriculture crops. Are you understand? Parthenium, xanthium. Parthenium, xanthium, these are the examples of that. They are given weeds. Xanthium, parthenium, okay, cypress. Is it okay? Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.